There comes a point in the journey of faith when God shifts our attention from what He has done for us to how we are to live with Him. Exodus 25 marks such a moment. After redemption, law, and covenant commitment, God now speaks about the tabernacle. In Exodus 25:8, the Lord declares, "Then have them make a sanctuary for me, and I will dwell among them." This statement reveals the heart of God's purpose. Redemption was never only about escape from Egypt, it was about restored presence. God desires to dwell with His people, not remain distant. The detailed instructions that follow are not about architecture alone. They reveal that God's presence is holy, intentional, and ordered. Every measurement, material, and placement teaches that access to God is a gift, but not a casual one. God draws near, yet He defines how He is to be approached. Spiritual maturity begins when believers understand that God's presence shapes how life is ordered. This truth is fulfilled and clarified in John 10, verses 1 through 10, where Jesus identifies Himself as the Good Shepherd and the gate for the sheep. Access to God is no longer through a tent or altar, but through a person. In John 10:9, Jesus says, "Whoever enters through me will be saved." God still desires to dwell among His people, but now that dwelling is mediated through Christ. Guidance, protection, and life flow from recognizing His voice and following Him. Psalm 46 reinforces the assurance of God's nearness. Verse 1 declares, "God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble." God's presence among His people means stability even when the world shakes. His presence is not symbolic, it is active and sustaining. Faith deepens when we stop seeking God only in crisis and begin living consciously in His presence daily. Paul introduces an important corrective in 1 Corinthians 8, warning that knowledge without spiritual responsibility leads to pride. Verse 1 states that knowledge puffs up, but love builds up. Spiritual growth is not measured by information alone, but by humility and obedience before God's presence. When God dwells among His people, maturity requires restraint, awareness, and care for others. Today, reflect on how you live with God's presence. Do you treat it as occasional comfort or as daily reality? The God who redeems also dwells. He orders lives, guides paths, and calls His people to maturity. Walk today with the awareness that God is not distant. He has chosen to dwell among His people.